Hello, everyone, and welcome to AudioSummary. Here, we break down your favorite books and movies into short, powerful audio stories, so you get the heart of the story fast. If you love storytelling, but don't always have the time, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's dive right in. Better Man, 2024. The film is narrated by pop superstar Robbie Williams as he tells the story of his life. Throughout the film, Robbie is shown as a chimpanzee, symbolizing how he sees himself as less evolved. In 1982, young Robert, played by Carter J. Murphy, lives in Stoke-on-Trent. While playing football with some kids, he is humiliated after falling down. At home, he is with his parents Peter, played by Steve Pemberton, and Janet, played by Kate Mulvaney, as well as his Nan Betty, played by Allison Steadman. Peter dreams of stardom and even sings Frank Sinatra songs with Robert. However, Peter believes that if you're not born with talent, you might as well be a nobody. Betty reassures Robert that he definitely has what it takes. Robert joins a school production of Pirates of Penzance, where he impresses the audience with his singing and ability to improvise. Still, he is haunted by inner voices, which appear as angry visions of himself. Meanwhile, Peter performs a stand-up comedy act and decides to change his last name from Williams to Conway before leaving his family. Robert holds on to some of his father's belongings, like a copy of Feel, while moving to a smaller home with Janet and Betty. As a teenager, played by Jono Davies, Robert dreams of becoming a famous singer. However, a school counselor advises him not to get his hopes up and to focus on his studies. His best friend, Nate, played by Fraser Hadfield, does not share such big ambitions. One day, Robert hears on the radio about an audition for a boy band happening that weekend, which excites him. At the audition, Robert meets the manager Nigel Martin Smith, played by Damon Harriman, who is a first-class cunt. Robert begins singing Straighten Up and Fly Right, but Nigel cuts him off and seems unimpressed. Before being sent out, Robert confidently talks to Nigel as if he's already secured the spot, and with a wink, catches Nigel's attention. Later, Robert and Betty are surprised and happy to hear from Peter, who wants to reconnect. However, Peter seems more interested in Robert's stardom prospects than building a real relationship. When Robert tells Janet that he failed his exams, she first tells him that he made it into the band. They celebrate together and also curse out a rude neighbor. Robert joins Nigel and meets the other band members, the handsome Howard Donald, played by Liam Head, experienced dancer Jason Orange, played by Chase Vollenweider, the just lovely Mark Owen, played by Jesse Hyde, and the eventual frontman Gary Barlow, played by Jake Simmons. The band is called Take That, and Robert starts going by Robbie, a name he doesn't like. Nigel makes sure Gary writes all the songs, despite Robbie's wish to contribute. The band start performing at gay clubs, where Robbie feels welcomed by enthusiastic crowds. For several months, Take That tours these clubs until Nigel lands a gig at a club with a large female audience. After a hit show, Nigel scolds Robbie for talking to a reporter behind the band's back and for trying to be the face of the band. He reminds Robbie he is easily replaceable. Nigel also orders the band to stay clean around the girls, even though many fans are on them moments later. After meeting an executive who only gives them a chance because his daughter loves them, Take That skyrockets to superstardom. Fans crowd outside Robbie's home, which makes Janet and Betty uncomfortable, especially as Robbie's ego grows. Robbie often clashes with his bandmates, especially Gary, as he tries to hog the spotlight. In the recording studio, Robbie tries lead vocals on Relight My Fire, but it doesn't sound right. Gary takes over the lead, and Nigel declares they have a hit. Robbie starts abusing cocaine and alcohol. During a show, he passes out just before going on stage. Nigel scolds him as Robbie struggles to stay conscious but manages to perform, though he struggles with the choreography and showboating. Robbie later visits Gary's mansion, where Gary, Howard, Jason, and Mark tell him they want to continue the band as a four-piece without him. Robbie drives off defiantly, singing Come Undone, but crashes his car into a river. He's haunted by visions of fans dragging him underwater, blaming him for the band shrinking. Seen as egotistical, Robbie spirals further into addiction. At a New Year's Eve party boat, Robbie meets Nicole Appleton, played by Rachel Bono from the girl group All Saints. They start a romance, shown through the song She's the One. A montage shows they were expecting a child, but Nicole's manager, whom Robbie also describes as a cunt, forces her to have an abortion. This strains their relationship, leading to a breakup. Later, at a party celebrating All Saints' new hit Never Ever, Robbie reconnects with Nate, who is going to be a father. Robbie congratulates him. He also meets brothers Liam and Noel Gallagher, played by Leo Harvey Elledge and Chris Gunn. Liam and Robbie have a famously quarrelsome relationship, but Liam invites Robbie to hang out with them. At home, Robbie criticizes Never Ever for its family themes, still bitter about the abortion. Nicole hits back, calling him out for being drunk and caring too much about public opinion. Robbie visits Janet and Betty, where Janet reveals Betty's mind is slipping. Betty accidentally admits she was the one who contacted Peter about reconnecting, not Robbie. Betty breaks down over this mistake. Robbie later meets songwriter Guy Chambers, played by Tom Budge, who says most of Robbie's songs sound the same. When Robbie sings something beautiful, Guy is impressed. Robbie begins working with new manager Chris Briggs, played by Anthony Hayes, and starts a career revival, marked by the song Land of 1,000 Dances. Despite progress, Robbie still struggles with substance abuse. He books a major concert at Nebworth, where Peter shows up after news of the event spreads. Robbie argues with his father, accusing him of only caring about fame. Robbie appears on Michael Parkinson's show, played by John Waters, while Janet and Betty watch. Flashbacks show Robbie goofing off in his early solo career, and the fallout with Nicole, who later dates Liam Gallagher. Before a big show, Janet calls Robbie to tell him Betty has passed away. This shatters him, and he mourns deeply during the song Angels. After the funeral, Robbie falls into another bender. Nate visits, sharing struggles with his girlfriend and child, but Robbie is focused on a Nebworth concert and lashes out, pushing Nate away. Later, at a lake, Peter tries to pull Robbie out of the water, but Robbie calls him out for abandoning him, saying Peter was only ever there for star Robbie Williams, never for Robert the person. At the Nebworth concert, Robbie puts on a spectacular show, singing Let Me Entertain You, but is haunted by inner voices and past selves who criticize him. This culminates in a dramatic fight scene where Robbie battles his doubts. Robbie eventually enters rehab and joins therapy, admitting he hates the persona of Robbie and how he's damaged relationships. He decides to take himself seriously and starts repairing his bonds with Gary, Nicole, Nate, and others, singing Better Man. He later performs at the Royal Albert Hall, where both Peter and Janet are in the audience. Robbie ends the show with My Way, inviting Peter to sing with him, finally reconciling. In the crowd, Robbie sees his past selves, including young Robert, all proud and no longer judgmental. He dedicates the show to Betty. As the applause roars, the real Robbie Williams declares that if he had to define himself, he would say he is a fucking entertainer and the fucking best. The film is a look at the life of British pop superstar Robbie Williams, who is portrayed as a chimpanzee. It follows his journey from a young boy with dreams of stardom through his time in Take That, struggles with addiction, turbulent relationships, and eventual comeback as a solo artist with restored confidence and self-worth. Thanks for listening to Audio Summary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. Until next time,